All right, guys, so it's time to discuss what I'm buying this month, and there are some massive names on this list and a new name as well. But sadly, some names did not make the list this time, which is probably going to create a lot of controversy down in the comments. But hey, guys, at least hear me out and then go ahead and blast me down in the comments if you want. So I'll give you all those stock picks today and the why behind every single one right after you guys hit that like button if you like getting the truth without the hype, because that's what you're going to get today, guys. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, remember, guys, these are just the stocks that I personally am targeting right now in regards to my situation, my portfolio, where I have their valuations at, and where the price is in relation to that valuation, and a bunch of other stuff like that. Now, I agree there's a lot of great stocks on discount right now. Seems like the market correcting down has given us some great opportunities, but I can only speak to the stocks that I personally am going after. So for a lot of you guys are looking at a lot of other stocks, and maybe you're saying, hey, Luke, I got that one right there at fair value, or I think it's a little bit below fair value. Why aren't you buying that stock too? Well, it could be for a variety of reasons. It could be one, it's just outside of my circle of competence, so I don't want to own that stock at all, not because I don't think the company's great, but just simply because, hey, it's outside of my circle of competence. I can't confidently own that stock. Or it may simply be something else like, I own the stock, but I have a full position plus bonus shares, so I'm only looking to add bonus shares. And right now, although the price may be arguably around fair value, I don't want to just add fair value shares whenever you have a full position. I just want super discounted shares, which we may not be getting at that particular point in time with that stock. It doesn't mean it won't fall there later, but in the meantime, at least as of right now, it's not there yet, so that's why it's not on my list. Kind of keep that in mind as we move forward. There's not a one stock that rules them all stocks are great for everyone or anything else of that nature. Each one of us has to assess these for ourselves, our plan, where we're at in life, what we want out of growth, and everything else. So kind of keep that in mind as we're kind of going through this list. That's kind of the angle or the slant that I'm looking at it from. Doesn't mean it's not right for you or that the stock is right for you. It just means I'm just giving you insight into what I'm thinking and why I'm doing it. So stock number one is Google. Well, it seems like the stock's pretty much been in the doghouse for the entire year, right? It was just kind of maybe even longer than that, maybe 6 to 8 months or so. Kind of seems like it's been a doghouse, right? I mean, it went from they're behind in the AI race, which comes up periodically. I think everybody's behind in the AI race. I think that's the real truth of the matter outside of the folks like NVIDIA who are producing the hardware for AI. They seem to be ahead, but everybody else seems to be behind. But then you have that, then you have the Department of Justice stuff, which comes to all big tech. It kind of comes in cycles. Just a lot of things that kind of like on a news level sound terrible, but then you look at the earnings, and the earnings have been wonderful. The guidance has been wonderful. Not the most incredible ever, but definitely not anywhere near to where Google's getting the beatdown that it's getting because of it. And right now, it's trading at some of its cheapest valuations in a long time. So for me, I'm continuing to add this stock. I basically just put it on a simple DCA. I'm going to continue to DCA in this stock as long as Wall Street wants to continue to beat it down. I'll continue to add shares, and using my modified DCA that we talk about all the time here on this channel, as it falls lower, I'll just add more and more shares. So basically the batch of shares I buy just gets bigger and bigger as we go. You got to keep in mind, guys, it's not about, selling at the top and buying in at the lows and all that other garbage like that. It's about share count. All you need to be worried about is stacking your share count in the end, because that's what matters over the long run. 10 years from now, you'll wish you owned more shares of a great stock. So that's what I'm focused on, just continuing to build out my share count in great companies every time Wall Street wants to give me a stupid undervalued deal. And right now, Google's at a pretty good deal. And if it continues to fall, it's going to fall into that stupid great level. Now, maybe not 2022 great, but nonetheless, at a nice level to where I can continue to add a lot of shares on the dip. So stock number two is PayPal. You guys know it's PayPal. We call it PayPal there in the group. It seemed like it was on a run there for a little while, but then it's kind of cooled off again. It doesn't seem to matter what they do at this particular stage. Great earnings, great guidance, everything moving in the right direction, still gets beat down. At some point in time, stocks always return to fair value. Obviously, we see it whenever they're running high. Everybody, hey, valuations don't matter. This stock to the moon, that stock to the moon. Well, that lasted this time around 2-3 months. And then all of a sudden, everything's kind of cratered back down. So I know things always come back to fair value. But man, we are still undervalued here on PayPal. And we have been for a long time, it seems. But so I'm not going to add heavy. I'm not going to pour a bunch of money into it, but I understand what Alex is trying to do. And more importantly, I understand valuation, and I can easily project out what the stock price should be, like where fair value is a year from now, 2 years from now. And man, I just love this opportunity. Like, it's hard for me not to buy the stock at that particular stage. I just laid out my full bull and bear case for PayPal for my group there. It's one of the things that you get with my group there. I let you guys vote. And then I basically put together my full bull and bear case for those stocks, complete with numbers and everything else. So for those of you guys that are members, make sure you check that out. It's already posted. It's live in the group right now. So in the end, I'm going to add a few shares if this continues. Like I said, I'm not going to keep adding as heavily as I was prior. But nonetheless, I just can't ignore something that's stupidly cheap and that I feel has a very, very good low risk. Basically, the risk reward for this one, although your risk may very well be time if this thing doesn't start to move again the opposite direction. So you might very well have some time things. But in regards to, am I, 5 years from now going to be sitting on a dead stock still? I just don't see it that way. The risk reward to me is just too rich. So I'm going to have to add some shares of this stock. And if you're serious about learning how to invest and taking advantage of everything that's going on right now, all the chaos and everything else, and you want to work directly with me and our coaches and our group of 6, 7, and 8 figure members in our Discord there, make sure you take advantage of the March Madness sale that's going on right now. It's the pinned comment down there. We'll talk more about it at the end, but make sure you check that out if you're ready to take that next step. So stock number 3 is SoFi. All right, another stock that was a high flyer going to the moon, and obviously it has come back down. And this is another stock where I added so many in the $4, $5, $6, $7 range, right up in that range right there. I don't need any more shares, but I just believe in the future. I believe in the management team. I believe in all the things that they're doing in the background that may not give us profits this year, but next year, and especially 2027, I think that's really where we're going to see that EPS number really take off, and we really start seeing the stock price at that particular stage start to really move in the opposite direction there. So I've loved this pullback, and I cannot wait to continue to add shares. And if Wall Street wants to get really dumb, like get this thing back up underneath $10 again, man, it's going to be really hard for me not to add very, very heavy to the stock because of that future that I see coming. I know Wall Street's thinking short-sighted. I know that there are a lot of there's a lot of trader control movements kind of going on with the stock right now. I don't freaking care about any of that sort of stuff. Good. That's to my advantage as a long-term buy and hold investor. When they play stupid games, beat it down. That's awesome, because just like we just talked about, share count is what matters. And that's what I want to do. I want to continue to add shares to a great stock with a massive TAM in front of them and a pretty impressive future that could very well come if they execute. And it's hard to press. You'd be hard pressed to find, 5 other companies that have executed better over the past 4 years than SoFi has, given the challenges that they've had, specifically with turning around the business and everything else. So for me, I'm going to eat up all the shares that I can on this particular dip. And if they want to continue to get dumb, that is to my advantage, music to my ears. I'll happily add more. All right, so before we get to the last stock here, which is actually a new stock on our list, it's a stock that I haven't had on my list here in a long time, it seems, but nonetheless, it's on it right now and I'm excited for it. But before we get to that stock, let's talk about Tesla next, because it did not make the list once again, despite the fact it has fallen down significantly. Now, you guys know, I said it after last earnings, I said it at this crazy run that happened, it was overvalued. It's still overvalued, and I'm not sure we're going to get an earnings this time around. We'll see. Elon can always pull the rabbit out of the hat, but I'm not sure we're going to see an earnings that's going to flip that valuation narrative to the positive side, to where it's like, oh, okay, wow, we really are getting a discount on Tesla at this particular stage. Matter of fact, it might very well move the opposite of that. And we may end up in a spot to where, Tesla falls after earnings, and then it's actually more expensive. Obviously, as we get closer, I'll dive into it a little bit deeper, see what we have there, and get you guys a preview out for that. But nonetheless, right now, this has nothing to do with politics or anything else like that. It has to do with performance and valuation. And I just haven't liked the valuation on Tesla in a long time, since last year, whenever we added in the 140 range. That was the last time I really liked Tesla's valuation and kind of the risk reward proposition that I was getting. And for those of you guys wondering, yes, I understand Optimus very, very well. Yes, I have driven in the latest release of FSD. And yes, I understand what's going on with robotaxi and it finally getting approvals and starting to move forward and a lot of other things of that nature. But I also understand exactly how the stock market works, and more importantly, what large institutional investors are willing to pay for. So that's why I don't add on the crazy hypes, and I don't sit around and hype up the stock whenever it goes on these ridiculous runs. And instead, I sit around and I buy shares whenever it seems like nobody wants the stock. And to me, we're just not to that point yet with the valuation, with everything else with this stock. But apparently a lot of folks still think I'm wrong for thinking that way. I don't know why buying high instead of buying low somehow is a problem. It makes you a bear. It makes absolutely no sense. So you got to kind of get that sort of stuff out of your head and understand that, yes, I see all those opportunities there, but no, large institutional investors who are going to push you to that multi-trillion-dollar market cap, not us as retail, we can't do that. But those large institutional investors, they don't care that Elon says it's going to add $1 trillion next year. They want to see proof that there's something happening that will create that $1 trillion coming in. I mean, it's kind of a running joke now. We joke about it too, right? I mean, Elon time is, hey, he says next year, but that could mean, next year. It could mean 5 years from now. Who knows? I'm definitely excited for the new model, whatever the heck that ends up being, whatever the heck they end up revealing, and a lot of other things of that nature. But I think a lot of the big gains with Tesla for us that are going to hit that bottom line, which is the important part, are coming in future years. They're not happening this year again. So as an experienced investor, the most important thing you can do is stay disciplined. You got to stick to your plan. Now, if your plan is just simply to DCA in the stock, well, then just continue right on with your DCA. But for me, I own all the Tesla shares I want to own. I owned them a long time ago, and I have continually, over the past 5 years, added on the dips at great valuations. That to me is just prudent investing. And right now, the price is not to a level where I feel it's prudent for me to add personally based upon my plan, based upon the number of shares that I have, and everything else that I have going on. It's just not the best spot for my money right now. That's why it didn't make the list this time around. It might very well make it in the future. We'll see what happens, right? We'll see what earnings happens. I don't know. Earnings could flip the script completely. We have no idea at this stage, but for right now, all I can do is tell you guys exactly what I think about Tesla and exactly where it's at in relation to my price targets. So on to the last stock on our list here, and it's a re-entry into our list, and that would be Amazon. I think we all know Amazon. There's nobody who doesn't think Amazon isn't involved in everything, isn't crushing everything, and everything else of that nature. But yet, when you look at valuation, which is what we talk about all the time, it is trading at one of its cheapest valuations ever. In the history of the stock, it's trading at one of its cheapest valuations. Now, it's not going to be cheap in relation to a lot of other stocks because it's always traded at a much higher multiple than a lot of other stocks have. But I'm not here to argue about that. But after 20 plus years of it trading extremely rich, that proves that Wall Street's just willing to pay a higher multiple for Amazon than they are a lot of other stocks. But right now, you're actually not paying those ridiculously high, even just the average multiple that Amazon has gotten over the past 10 years or so. You're paying significantly below that, which is music to my ears. So I'm just simply adding it on a DCA. Anything below $200 for me is just stealing money in regards to Amazon. So I'm going to continue to buy the stock and buy this stock as long as Wall Street wants to be dumb and keep it beaten down. And just like with Google and all the rest of the stocks, as it goes lower, I will add heavier and heavier and buy larger and larger batches of the stock. And I know a lot of you guys are saying, Luke, how do you always buy the dip? How do you always do all these sorts of things? Well, I didn't buy a whole heck of a lot. Basically, October, November, December, January, during that time frame when the market was red hot, well, instead of buying stocks, I was pooling up my cash for the most part. Obviously, I was still making my buys in a $250 portfolio, challenge and other things of that nature. But other than that, I was stacking up cash for times like right now where I can just continue to strategically deploy that capital and continue to buy these stocks as they move lower. And if you want to learn exactly how to do that step by step through courses, through free coaching, through our live Q&As and being able to access me anytime or take advantage of our 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord members, all helping you understand exactly how to do this as well, make sure you check out the pinned comment for my group where the March Madness sale is live. And when it goes away, the price goes back up. So make sure you check out the pinned comment, see if a membership's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.